endless. And there's this one point where I thought, okay, we're getting close. Things are getting kind of big. You know, those buildings are getting kind of big. We must be getting close. But it was like another 45 minutes before we got to the train station. Where then I was met by this like stunningly gorgeous tour guide in Beijing. And I got her to say slimy noodles. I got her to say slimy noodles. Yeah, and shortly thereafter, we were taken into this room after we met this. And we got to Beijing and were met by the guide. We're taken to our first restaurant. And it's bizarre because, you know, I mean, it's just this thing. Chinese kind of don't like having Westerners visible while they're eating. And so there was this special room with this massive circular table and the Lazy Susan in the middle. And we sat down in it with this very beautiful Chinese girl who was like a calligrapher, flower arranger / tour guide. And I have pictures of her. I mean, if you don't believe me, I do have photos. But yeah, but we were taken into this back room. Then on the walls were this, you know, and I thought China, you know, in this way was kind of very strict or kind of conservative. But this room was full of like topless art, like paintings of naked women or semi-naked women. Weird, you know, because it's not like you're in Vegas and you get the sort of porn cards slapped at you to go to this particular strip club or, you know, that escort agency or with the girls trucks going by all the time. You know, it's not like that in Beijing. Okay, it's not like that. It doesn't happen. And like, you know, there's really strict problems with like sex work and, you know, because they're trying to project the squeaky clean, you know, we don't do that kind of stuff. Image. What the fuck? I don't think that goes there. I think I'm misinterpreting these counting directions because I'm thinking of this stupid story is why. So I think what I need to do is pay my ass attention. And where are these little twattis? Oh no, look at them! My God, am I supposed to do that? Am I actually supposed to deal with these things? They might have been easier to deal with before I put them on, but I don't think it would matter that much. Kind of that actually this was kind of really one of the weirder things. I mean, we passed the Foxconn, a Foxconn factory. We went by that, but that wasn't it. It was in Chengdu, and in Szechuan province, sort of more west. And this is earlier in the whole being in China. And we passed this massive sort of truck, you know, just like a council truck or like a city vehicle, municipal vehicle, and it had this huge kind of contraption on the back, which was a nozzle, and this was April 2019. Huge nozzle. You know, it looked like a little cement mixer kind of thing, but it was on the back, and it wasn't the size of a cement mixer thing, but it just looked like that. It's kind of cone nozzle thing. And it was just blasting mist, like a cannon. It was blasting this mist. In 2019, April. And the thing is that later, a year later, almost exactly, the world then saw images of batteries of these vehicles going down the street, blasting antiseptic, you know, in the air. Did I mention I got a cold for like about 3 days in Shenyang? I had a cold. But it was, you know, there was this flight from Chengdu to Shenyang. That was quite long. That was about a 4-hour flight, in, you know, domestic flight. And when I got off the plane in Shenyang, it was really like, I felt like crap. It felt like crap. And had this cold, and fortunately, one of the companions, traveling companions, an Australian, had a little care package of cold remedies, lozenges, sore throat things, night, day sort of cold remedy type things, and masks, couple, you know, face masks, which were all the rage in Beijing, and Shenyang, and everywhere else in China. But, you know, I wasn't too sick, you know, but it went away, and I eventually did what I went there to do. It's not like it stopped me from doing anything. This minor cold. But yeah, that was in Shenyang, in Liaoning, which used to be Manchuria. And then later, and in Shenyang, we drove past the main square where the old Japanese army headquarters was, and has one of the 3 remaining giant Chairman Mao statues in it. And I did lots of photography of that, and that giant statue, and of the Japanese Army headquarters hotel. And, you know, things around the city, but also just the paleontological stuff is mainly why I was there. But then, you know, it's always good to see the context. And we went to the Manchurian capital, Mukden, which is former name of Shenyang, and we went to their Forbidden City, which was the Manchurian capital when the Manchurians ran China, which was the last dynasty. I have pictures. But the, you know, I have to say, I thought the high-speed rail was really great. I must say, I have to be complimentary to the way that worked. was really nice and efficient, and it wasn't late. It was on time. It better be. You know, that cold didn't last very long. I mean, really, it didn't stop me or anything. It just kind of flared up in the evening, you know, and wasn't just wanted the little nighttime ones, you know, and just kept it going just so I felt as well as I could, you know, for about 2 days, and it was like nothing insignificant. Just at night, really, the only time it sort of congested or something, you know. And then, like, by the time I actually got to Beijing, well, there was nothing. It was nothing, really. It was our tour guide. And there was this time, yeah, I mean, it was, you know, I gotta say slimy noodles, but that was just sort of a low-hanging fruit, kind of. But there was a time there was this thing where we were supposed to go do some, like, shopping in some place. Okay, and that was part of the overall thing, and my Christ God, we had to go shopping. And I threw this thing, I really did. I threatened to bail and go to the palace or the Temple of Heaven, or the Forbidden City, or Tiananmen Square, or somewhere that was, you know, important and not wasting my time, okay? I mean, I was wanting to go somewhere that was more noteworthy than stupid. But I know, you know, I have to get you to spend some dough there and all that. And I didn't care. My souvenirs are different. I have different sorts of souvenirs. Yeah, so I threw this thing, and I said I was going to bail, you know, I'm going to go somewhere. And, you know, I don't know, I didn't really spit the dummy. I mean, you can't really call it that, because I didn't get all huffy or anything. I was just saying, you know, if that's what we're really going to do, then forget it, I'm bailing. I'm going to go do something interesting. It wasn't like screaming and hollering and stomping and throwing some tantrum or anything. So, like, actually, I was accommodated, and we went to the Temple of Heaven. And because of the whole idea of feng shui, and there's this Ming idea called the central axis, like Beijing, the whole, all the main things, administrative and imperial things, were all built along an axis of good feng shui. So it's called the central axis of Beijing, and the Forbidden City is bisected by it. In the Temple of Heaven, it runs along. There's actually like this little curb bit that runs along and bisects the entire thing, and that's the central axis. And so, like, I really wanted to get into the central axis. I went into the central axis. That's why I wanted to kind of do this. I wanted to get into this whole thing that I'd found out about in studying to come here. So, I kind of went off and did my own thing. And Babe, girlfriend, was giving her spiel, her tourist tour guide spiel to tourists about what the place was and when it was built and all that stuff. And I kind of, like, you know, I was in there, but then I started doing things at my own pace, which is always the problem. And I started going ahead and, like, going and really kind of, like, doing this walk along the central axis. I just wanted to trace the entire central axis. So I kind of, like, started doing my own thing. And she was off doing her little bits at the little stations where they had the information or whatever. And where she was saying stuff about it, and I didn't actually stay with it. It made it seem like, really, I'll be fair and admit that it made it seem like I didn't give a rat's fuck about what she was saying. And in some ways, not. But I mean, I already knew why I was there. I kind of like already, I knew why I was there already, and sometimes these little, I don't know, sometimes you get, it doesn't matter where you are. Sometimes if you already know something, then they start giving you this basic information, and you start going, okay, yeah. I want to see the thing. I'm going to go walk around it. This big lotus flower symmetrical thing. So that's what I did. I actually went and actually started exploring a farther range of the architecture of the place. That then the group ultimately got to do. And then when I joined up with her, she was pissed off. Don't you care? Don't you care? I mean, I'm not mocking her. She's, like I said, she was really good looking. I'm not mocking her. But, like, I had no idea it was going to be that upsetting. I didn't know she was going to be that upset. And I said, well, I care about the feng shui. You know about the feng shui? And she goes, yeah, the feng shui. So I guess it was all good. Or something. I don't know. I mean, it was sort of a bit shit. But I guess, I mean, I don't know, maybe it wasn't all good. But yeah, anyway, I fell away from the incredibly gorgeous tour guide and sort of came across like I didn't give a damn about what she was saying. Sorry if I was honest. Didn't care about sitting next to her and making her say slimy noodles. That was nice. I liked that. It was fun. We went to the Peking Man site, the site outside Beijing, and that was very interesting. You know, she went there with us. Although she herself, you see, this is the thing. She knew absolutely nothing about like paleontology. She didn't. She was just our tour guide, and she was really insanely attractive. She nothing about paleontology. Let me put it that way. Nothing. Oh yes, she studied Chinese literature. That's right. Her study was in Chinese literature. That's right. She could speak English to a degree. Well, I did eventually get to Tiananmen Square. Jeez. Yeah, but you know, everything I'd been led to believe was that they were very cracking down on the, you know, prostitution and sex workers and porn and just all these vices because they were Western, you know, they would ruin everybody. You know, kind of like opium. So yeah, that was my impression anyway. That was the government's policy that, you know, that these things were illegal. But, you know, and not and to kind of not tempt anyone too much, you know. I mean, there really weren't that many racy images around. I mean, you'd see kind of, you know, like ads, and they'd push the boundaries, and, you know, there really was kind of, you know, legs and midriffs, and there were attractive models in ads, and but it wasn't like just really lurid, I guess would be a way to put it. And so yeah, so it was just sort of surprising to me that we went into this restaurant, and well, it didn't surprise me that we were ushered back to a back table. I mean, I knew they didn't like seeing people from other parts of the world and knowing they existed. I knew that. So at that part, they put in another room. That had happened already, I mean, they reserved a special area for Westerners. So that didn't surprise me. But once I got in this room, and it was just like bizarre because there was all these like naked women paintings on the wall. Weird paintings of naked women or topless women. And it was just like weird. It almost like made me kind of like wonder. It's like, the fuck? What was this? Why was this? This is very strange. It just looked weird. It looked out of place. It just really looked weird. There on the wall, naked women in the background. It did. Seemed weird. I wasn't expected. I guess it subverted my expectations. Really. But of course, there was, the scintillating companionship of my tour guide. It was very beautiful herself. Had I said that?